Let's get to the U.S. elections, which are 14 days away from today, and that's the top topic in everyone's mind. It's really about how do we find growth? How do we generate growth going forward? Global economy has huge challenges. The advanced economies have huge challenges. Demographics, slow productivity, high levels of debt, which seems to get larger by the day. How do we find growth, and what is the growth story going forward?
I've got to say, having just come across from the IMF building, everybody's tiptoeing around the US election, but it is all dominant. I think if I look out one of the windows, we can actually see the White House from here. So just tell us about this nervous wait, because the Democrats' Kamala Harris feels like a continuity candidate of sorts, whereas Donald Trump, with a megaphone last time round, we saw just how disruptive he was for various different countries across the globe. So just how much of a nervous wait is it?
Sure, it's a very, very much a nervous wait. Both candidates are running as change candidates, which is kind of interesting. The concern about Trump is that he's anti-internationalist, doesn't care about transatlantic relations, and will be more focused on isolationism and protectionism. Some of it may be a little overdone, but there's certainly elements of that as we see through his proposals on tariffs. There's no doubt that Vice President Harris will be much more engaged with the global community, much more interested in international organizations.
When it comes to Trump, trade fragmentation is already a key risk, and there are concerns that that gets worse, but also has a trigger for inflation again, just as it's coming down. How are your members thinking about that impact?
The assumption is you'll have higher inflation, higher interest rates than you would have in the absence of those tariffs, that they are inflationary. You can argue, is it one-off or is it over time? It really depends on what retaliation looks like, and is it iterative over time? But no doubt it would be a break on the progress we're making in bringing down prices.
Trump and Harris on energy policy. Big Oil is clearly looking at the outcome, and they've been lobbying to keep parts of the IRA if it is a Trump victory, despite that initial opposition, which is remarkable. How do we think about the progress towards climate change and renewable on the back of the election?
Well, we're actually we ever have in history. Over 13 million barrels a day, the largest oil producer in the world. So you don't hear a lot about that. Also a large producer of natural gas, but renewables are actually being put in place at a fairly rapid clip. So it's all the above policy. And I think in some ways it's made the U.S. an attractive location for foreign investment, especially manufacturing. No doubt under Harris it will be greener and more renewables. Under Trump, it's drill baby drill.